welcome to a very special edition of Technoholik. It's that time of the year, ladies and gentlemen. We have the all-new iPad on the show today. No iPad 3, no iPad HD, nothing. It's just called the new iPad. Stick on for the review, which is coming up after our lineup for the next half hour. We get you the developer side of the new iPad equation and tell you how it affects your app experience. We also wrap up all the news of the week and serve it straight up. But up first, gear up, folks. The new iPad is here and I think it's going to stay. Alright, so now that we have our lineup, let's peel off the smart cover. And there you go. This is the all-new iPad, ladies and gentlemen. And as I said earlier, this is the third generation iPad and it's just called the new iPad. But what's in a name? The real question is the new iPad good enough for your tech life? Before the review, let's check in with the specs and see what it has to offer.
The new iPad is here and it has a 9.7-inch Retina display with 2048 x 1536 resolution at 264 ppi. The new iPad weighs just 652 grams. The processor has also been upgraded to a dual-core A5X and now it has a quad-core GPU backed by 1 GB of RAM. At the back you'll find a 5-megapixel iSight camera and a front-facing VGA camera for FaceTime. The operating system on the new iPad is iOS 5.1. It also has a new voice dictation feature in it and comes in 16 GB, 32 GB and 64 GB storage options. And now also boasts of 4G LTE support.
So now that you're armed with all the information, let's get straight on to the review. As we said earlier, upgrades include a new screen, new processor, more RAM, quad-core graphics and so on. So let's dissect each one of them, starting with the design. It just looks exactly like the iPad 2. No changes in form factor. I have an iPad 2 right here. Both of them, no changes in form factor at all, except that the new iPad is about 50 grams heavier than the iPad 2. But you will get used to it. Sleek, true Apple's signature design, no problems here at all. So on design, we give it 4.5 stars. Half a star is taken off because the weight might just nag some users. But the most noteworthy upgrade is the high-resolution Retina display. When you unbox it, you're going to think, really, is it that different? But then you turn your iPad 2 on, like I've done right here, and you realize it. Look at the new iPad screen and then go back to your iPad 2. Even before checking out the videos or photos, the home screen wallpaper looks so much more solid in terms of colors and pixels. This is the highest resolution on a tablet yet, 2048 by 1536 to be precise. 4 times better than your earlier iPads and 1 million more pixels than your HD TV. And this is the same Retina display as your iPhone 4S. But forget the numbers aside and just stare at it for 2 minutes. It's solid, it's beautiful, and it's literally stunning. Let me play an HD trailer for you and you'll notice skin tones, background colors, and even detailing like the hair color just looks so much better. There you go. This is what an HD trailer looks like. We're playing some shots for you right now. Even the skin tones, the background colors, all look just very solid. When you go back and compare it to the iPad 2, you'll start to see the blurring because this screen just ups the graphics to a whole new level. Also, when you go back to the new, when you see the new iPad and go back to your iPad 2, you're going to realize this is the iPad 2, that even the screen icons will start looking blurry to you when you look at the new iPad, and this will just spoil you. Trust me, you will never want to look at your iPad 2 again. Full support for 1080p video, but since Apple operates on 4:3, there you go. This black band is going to appear when you play your 16:9 videos. Compared to the Samsung OLED displays, you might think that those are brighter, which might make you think that it's clearer. But in the new iPad, everything looks perfect and just the way it should be. So all in all, the new screen is completely drool-worthy, 100% yes. And for that, we give it full 5 stars. And when you're done drooling over the screen, you'll want to know about the hardware changes and how it affects performance. It's got a dual-core A5X processor along with quad-core support for graphics. What does this mean for your day-to-day usage? Not much difference actually. The iPad 2 was snappy and fast enough, and after longer periods of usage, this just feels faster. Apps open faster, multitasking is just that millisecond faster, no lag, it's all good in there. Since it's quad core now, which means better games. And most of us who have the iPad have the fancy productivity app, yes, one or two of those, but 80% of the apps are games. Let's take a look at Skyward HD, which I'm going to play right now. Just look at these graphics, smooth, solid and crisp. And actually, I'm just waiting for a couple of racing Retina games and then we can truly test this baby out. Battery life, Apple claims is about 10 hours, but we got about 5 hours on a single charge with Wi-Fi and 3G on at about 70% brightness and still had some charge left. All is good till now. Hardware and performance gets 4.5 stars. There are some reports of the iPad heating up with extensive gaming. When we test that out for ourselves, we'll add that other 0.5 star or not. Now let's get to the camera. The iPad was never known for its camera, but on the new iPad, Apple has taken a considerable step and upped it to 5 megapixels. While we think it's totally dorky and incredibly painful to just hold it up like this and take pictures, but hey, I'm not going to deny, I have done it a couple of times. So if you absolutely must use the camera, the picture quality here is pretty decent. When you take a look at these pictures, you are clearly going to realize that compared to the iPad 2 camera, this is a good upgrade over the camera. But if you're going to compare it to the iPhone 4S, the new iPad loses all megapixels down. But what should have been upgraded is the front camera though. If you're tired of grainy FaceTiming people, then you're going to have to be stuck with it for at least another year. All in all, the camera is good but not great, so it just gets about 3.5 stars. Apple, please, for the love of God, upgrade the front camera. But before we move on, let's recap. Design, 4.5 stars. Screen, 5 stars. Hardware and performance, 4.5 stars. Camera gets 3.5 stars. Whew. Up to speed. Now moving on to apps and the OS. Well, the OS remains the same, 5.1 as on your iPhone. Works fine, no changes there at all. The app ecosystem on Apple is of course massive, and now with Retina display, apps will start getting made, so all the earlier apps will start getting an upgrade, which also means app sizes are going to get bigger. Another new feature is the smaller brother of Siri, voice dictation. Voice dictation, when you go into your notes, you're going to see a mic icon on your keyboard which lets you dictate into documents, dictate emails, notes and so on. It's about 80% accurate. I have the same problem with Siri, it doesn't understand our accent well. But mind you, you're going to have to be connected over 3G or Wi-Fi for this voice conversion to work, as it's done on Apple's remote servers, so no voice dictation offline. So use it wisely on your 3G data plan, and it's only for voice conversion. You can't search the net for tips and tricks or plan your meetings like you can with Siri. But I would have actually liked to see Siri on the iPad. It just makes more sense here. Bigger screen, more reading, better typing into emails. Maybe the next version will have it. So taking all of this into consideration, we're giving the new iPad on the apps and the OS at about 4.5 stars. Now let's ease the load a little bit and tell you what it has in terms of connectivity. So even though it's made for 4G LTE networks, of course they're not there in India yet, but your 3G SIM cards will still work. Do not worry at all. Wi-Fi and 3G all work okay, so no rating on connectivity. So what's the final verdict on the all-new iPad? Before we get to that, Siddharth has some very important price updates to give us about the iPad 2 in India. Siddharth, what's that?
Yes, Radhika, you might be intrigued with the new iPad. Of course, it's got a beautiful Retina display on it, but this is not the new iPad. I know they both look somewhat similar apart from that Retina display and the rear 5 megapixel camera on it, but this is the iPad 2. I bought the new iPad 2 recently because there has been a price cut on the iPad 2. You can get a 16GB Wi-Fi variant for about 24,500 rupees, and the 3G variant would cost your pocket somewhere about 33,000 rupees. While on the other hand, the top end variant, the 64GB Wi-Fi edition, is priced at rupees 36,500, and the 3G variant would cost your pocket again somewhere about
44,900 rupees. I think it's a great deal. It's a good price cut of about 4 to 5,000 rupees on the iPad across different variants of it. But is it a good enough wait to wait for the new iPad or go for this deal? But here's a food for thought for all you guys over there. Now, the new iPad boasts of a Retina display. That means new apps would be coming out for that display, which would be heavier and obviously take up a lot of disk space on the new iPad, which means that a 16GB variant of the new iPad would offer you much more less disk space than what the iPad 2 has to offer in terms of memory. So my advice to you guys would be spend wisely.
Thanks so much, Siddharth. And if Apple sticks to its pattern, which it mostly will, then the new iPad should be priced at about 29,000 rupees onwards. Now you know the price, the specs, the camera, everything. So should you buy this third generation iPad? Absolutely yes. If you haven't gotten yourself a tablet yet, then go out and buy the new iPad. No debate there at all. And if you've already got the iPad 2, then don't look at this new display. Stay away, because if you have the money to upgrade, by all means go and please buy the new iPad. And if you're gifting one to your parents or even say a younger cousin who really doesn't care much about the screen, then buy the iPad 2 or just palm off your older one. The iPad 2 is cheaper, yes, but spend that extra 5,000 rupees and stay with the curve. Our final rating on the iPad is 4.5 stars. It's the best tablet out there in the market. Now it's time to take a break and process all of that information. But on the other side, how are developers reacting to the new iPad? That question answered on the other side.